is Jay Brij. I'm a real estate broker since 1988. I've seen the good days, the bad days, and the not so bad days. My passion is to educate consumer about all aspects in real estate. Actually, I sold over $1.75 billion in real estate. Now, that's a lot of experience. I went through many failures, many successes, and I've seen many stories that you will be amazed. Not everything looks so glamorous as it is sometimes. On Let's Talk Real Estate, we will dig deep down and I will take you step by step through every process, from buying your first home to buying a multi-million-dollar investment property. We will have various people on this show: lawyers, investors, we'll have mortgage brokers, appraisals, and everyone else to assist us to take you to that point. My aim is to break it down in such easy terms that you will be able to follow. So please join me every Thursday between 1 and 2, and let's talk real estate.
Hi there. Welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate with Amit, Kanhai, and normally it's Jay Brij here, but as you can see, this is not Jay Brij. This is Dennis Allison, also from the Brij team. So what we're going to be jumping into today is something that we've been getting a lot of questions about back and forth and a couple emails. It's really about, Dennis, it's about getting an investment property and what are the steps involved in it, what are the screening application, all that sort of jazz. So, let's just jump right in, okay? So basically, we want to really start off on what are the investments of owning an investment property. And, I know you've also done this yourself, and I've also done this as well. Many people don't really realize, they think that it's like this really large, cumbersome task of, managing things and fixing plumbing and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Is that really the case, Dennis?
No, it's actually it's not as hard as everyone thinks. Owning real estate is the best thing you can do because, like, you buy a car, for example, it loses 50% value. You
Depreciating asset.
Yeah, this is something that's always going to be rising.
Right.
And at this time, the funny thing is that a lot of people think, oh, well, with the mortgage rules changing and everything, the prices are going to go down. But what I've been seeing is the prices are starting to go up.
Yeah.
And there's what we call bidding wars, which is multiple offers, and that was going crazy last year. Was bringing the houses up to,
and it's not really so much now, but it's actually it's still happening in a lot of the pricing points of like 500,000, 550.
Yeah.
Anything really under 6 is actually kind of going on the way up, especially like smaller properties, condos. So definitely, that's not the issues we were having last year, but it's on the increase, and people were scared about thinking the market was kind of tanking.
Exactly.
So back to like some of the real benefits, like number one, just off the bat, Dennis, let's just give you an example, or give our viewers an example. If you have a property that's, say, $640,000, it's a standard, or a really nice bungalow type of property. This home, on average, is most likely going to increase in value by maybe, probably 3 to 5% on a yearly basis. And that's kind of a conservative number given the historical averages over the last, 20 years or 25 years. So realistically, that's about $32,000 on a yearly basis of the property increasing. And that's without you just doing anything.
Yeah.
So also, you can't really forget that you're going to have a tenant in there. And these properties, I'm telling you, Dennis, they're renting for $2,000 on a monthly basis.
Easy.
So if you're getting $2,000 for a 3-bedroom plus a bedroom in the basement, 4-bedroom bungalow, then that means that you're coming in with about $24,000 in rent coming into your pocket for every year. Mind you, half of that is going to interest at the bank.
Yes.
So realistically, you got about $12,000 that you're being used to apply to your mortgage. So your mortgage is going down by $12,000. The property is increasing by $32,000. You just made $44,000 on paper, mind you, but in 1 year. And what did you do? Did you go fix some pipes? Maybe you called a plumber once.
Yeah.
That's really, you know, the kind of extent of it.
And you got to keep in mind too. Sorry to cut you off there.
Yeah.
That interest part you're talking about, again, that's mainly for the first year.
Yeah.
Moving forward from there, you're paying towards principal.
And well, not even that alone, Dennis. Now you brought another topic up that I was going to start covering. That interest is a tax deductible write-off.
Which is great.
So basically, you're actually, in effect, you're going to use that interest to lower your income.
Mm-hmm.
And then it shows that you're doing a few great things there, Dennis. You're creating affordable housing.
Mm-hmm.
You're lowering your income while increasing your net worth. So there's definitely, it's win, 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 win. There's no real major issues that can arise unless, you know, on the off circumstance you don't screen properly and you get into some other issues. But obviously that's something that we're going to talk about a little bit later, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So basically that's a couple of the major points on, you know, owning an investment property and what kind of benefits. Anything else you can really think of?
Well, what comes to mind for me is when you own an investment property, that's the best investment, as I was saying before. I currently have investment properties myself. So with the revenue stream coming in from that, pretty much the tenants are paying the mortgage. You may have to subsidize. I have a property.
That's really a great point, you know, because when you really look at the grand scheme of things, even at a property that's $550,000 or $600,000, if you have to just step back and say, okay, my mortgage is covered, but maybe maybe not all of my land, my taxes are.
Yeah.
And maybe the insurance, you know, that $50 a month that I have to pay, maybe that's not.
Yeah.
So when you think about it, Dennis, and this is one thing I really like to tell clients before they make the jump. I said, if you got to put $150 on a monthly basis to cover the differences and make sure it just breaks even on paper monthly, sure, you're going to say that's not the positive cash flow and all that jazz you hear on TV.
But it's going towards building your equity.
Yeah, it's going towards building that equity. And really, I stopped and I said, listen, I worked at the bank for 8 years, two of Canada's top financial institutions. Is there any investment, Dennis, that you can put $150 into on a monthly basis in over 1 year, then you're on paper coming out with $45,000?
No, man, there's no way.
Exactly. So it's one of those situations where, okay, sure, if you got to subsidize, even if it's $100, if it's $200, Dennis, even if it's $250,
you got to look at the long run.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, people don't look at the long run. They're looking at right here now money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're not thinking about down the road when it comes to retirement and stuff like that. Because if you're building, when you have that investment property, again, you can then take a line of credit from that home
and
go
to your next one.
Of course.
Yeah, and you know, see, this is some of the longer term strategy. Now, and just before we get off of that specific topic, clients have also mentioned, well, hey, you know, they've got family in Florida or in the States, and they said, well, I can buy a townhouse for $300,000 over there and rent it out for the same $1,600 or $1,700, and they're making good positive cash flow, maybe $500 on a monthly basis. But over 5 years or 10 years, these properties are not increasing in value, guys. So sure, you're making an extra $500 a month, and maybe you got 1 or 2 or 3 properties, and that's $1,500 a month. Dennis, that's great money. It really is.
Yeah.
But when you look at over 1 year and you multiply that, that's still only, you know, $25,000 or sorry, $2,000 or whatever, $20,000, whatever the fact may be. It's not going to equate to $44,000 or $45,000.
Of course.
So it'll give you a nice upfront cash flow, but it's not really gonna.
That's the thing. You have to be prepared with an investment property. You have to be prepared to get. It's slow money, but it's good money.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, not right here. Money is the best money all the time. Right?
Well, the thing is too, you can't spend it if it's not there right now. So it's a forced savings account.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you basically, like Jay has all the time with our workshops and what we try to promote for our investors is that, you know, when was the best time to buy? Best time was buy 5 years ago.
Yeah.
He says with the lemon tree, but you know, you get
it's
the concept,
same
right?
analogy, and you know, that's a good segue because realistically, I want to let our viewers know that obviously this Saturday, it's March the 3rd at 96 Rexdale Boulevard, we're going to be having our investment forum. So you can explain a little bit about the forum, how that works.
So we changed it from a workshop, which was a teaching environment. We just Jay would just teach everybody. We changed it to an open conversation. So now we call it the forum.
Yeah.
everybody has a chance to speak, give their advice.
And you know what I like about it the best is you got people that are, at different levels, investors starting to invest, different things like that. And they're really kind of jumping in and saying, well, everyone can kind of share their knowledge.
Yeah. So, it's not just for, sorry to cut you off, it's not just for investments. We've actually made it open for everybody, even first-time buyers, sellers, everybody. They come out just so they can gain some knowledge,
Definitely. And so what I'll do, just for a moment, while we kind of wrap this subject up, I want to stick a pin in it for just a sec, and then we'll come back just after the break, okay?
Doing this event for the community. But what if CEO actually stood for catching every opportunity? This week alone, I've seen 3 businesses that shut their doors in this community.
Investing in yourself, you have to know what your brand is first. So there's no other way that you're going to build a brand unless you network. You have to eventually get out there.
And it stems down to a lot of times not having the right knowledge, the right know-how.
Hey, welcome back everyone to our real estate talk show, Let's Talk Real Estate. Normally with myself, Amit, Kanhai, and Jay Bridgepaul, but here today we've got Dennis Allison, also from the Brij team. So he's our inside sales guy and sort of our resident expert on finding the right investment property. That's why I wanted to just, bring him on in here. So what I wanted to talk about right now was, before we get into our next segment, obviously, I want to finish up that topic on the advantages of owning a rental property.
Yes.
So basically, just a quick real recap on that section. Well, not a recap, sorry. Basically, one property you buy today will typically buy another property within 5 years.
Yes.
And you might ask, well, what do I mean by that?
Yeah.
So one
Well,
property,
I know,
so the average person will ask, what do you mean by that? So that means the property will increase by, X amount over 5 years. And at that point, you're able to scoop some of the equity out of that property. You go to the bank and say, I want to purchase another investment property. And as you know from last segment, it's fairly simple, not really too much headache involved in it. So at that point, you got 2. After that point, another 5 years passes. Those 2 properties will typically buy a third one.
Property, yeah, exactly.
At that point, you're in fairly good shape. You're at about 10, 15 years in the game, and you're able to next one go 5 years and you purchase another one. This is very conservatively a 15 to 20 year goal for the average person to own 4 investment properties. And what happens at that point, you ask, well, am I just going to continue to acquire properties? You could, but at that point you really step back and you say each one of those properties is bringing in, a couple $1,000s on income on a monthly basis. After 20 and 25 years, then chances are your mortgages are very low.
Yeah.
So what's happening now? You are actually building an after retirement or pre-retirement income, or even an after retirement income of somewhere $96,000, $97,000 on a yearly basis. So Dennis, I'm not saying don't take RSPs and don't invest in mutual funds, but there's something that's so clear to be said about owning investment properties over a long term. You're going to retire and you're spending 20 years in retirement. Yeah. So you don't want to be spending 5 minutes thinking about your retirement every year when it's RSP tax deadline right now.
Yeah.
That's not something you want to be doing. You want to go slow and steady, acquire these properties, and, let yourself live.
Yeah, especially now with pension, you don't even know if it's going to be there. This is an investment that you're going to have for the long run. And, I actually had a conversation with my grandfather and my uncle, actually, and the whole thing is, especially coming, because my background is Guyanese, as you know, and coming from these countries, you think, okay, I want to pay my mortgage off, and then I'm good. Once it's at zero, that's it. But then you're not getting anything else. You know what I mean? Why not make your money make you money?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So that's what. It's good to come to these workshops, because then you get the explanation, and you realize that, hey, yes, I paid off my mortgage, but am I getting any money? Especially as a pensioner,
no.
The pension is not a lot.
Yeah.
You know? So why not have something to fall back on?
Yeah.
You know, God forbid something happens to you too. You have something for your children and their children. You know.
Well, Dennis, really the major thing is, you know, you say you have this property that's paid off, and it's 500 or 600 or 700,000, whatever it is. You literally have a piggy bank.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have all of this money just tied up in your piggy bank. And what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
Nothing. And people think, oh, I got to sell or I got to liquidate the asset to then start moving forward. But that's not the case. The bank will lend on that property. And if it's 65% or 70% or 80% loan to value ratio, they're going to give you the money to lend on it.
Exactly.
So yeah, I know we ran a little bit overflow on that particular topic, but it's just something that, you know, I always feel that the need to explain all the details, because it's something that's very much beneficial for the average person.
Just one last thing, sorry, because it's come up so recently, and especially with the workshops coming up. It's like, I just want to say to everybody, an investment property is not a scary thing. It's better to have an investment property, especially the people who've bought in the past, you know, say 10 years or something like that, and got a really low, bought it for a really low amount, and it's higher now. Take some equity out, get another home, because nowadays the young people, they're not going to be able to afford anything. So why not give them a head start?
Yeah, and you know what? I'll give you a quick example as well. So Dennis, as you know, I bought my first one about 5.5 years ago, right? And you know, and I'll share it. It's fine. You know, it was about 320 or 330. You know, property currently is in the 600 range. But what I did was I was still living at home at that point in time, right? So and I rented it out, and you know, I didn't use a whole heap of a lot of money. I used a 5% down payment. I had to subsidize, like I know you did as well.
Oh yeah.
And then at the end of the day, then you know, 3 years later, fast forward, I ended up buying the next one.
Yeah.
And what I actually did then is I sacrificed a little bit, and I lived in the other one when
I know how that
feels.
Yeah.
So I lived in it, and you know, if I fast forward another 2.5 years, I took equity out of property 1, took equity out of property 2, and I brought property 3, which is a great home. It's a family home that I can live in now.
Yeah.
So you know, it's one of those things where there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but you really have to plan each step.
Absolutely. And the thing is, moving forward, you know, we're young guys now, you know, but moving forward, when we have children, how do we know how the market's going to go? Like, we see how the market's going as is now. So
and like you said, Dennis,
why not have it, right?
Like you said, it's not even, it's not a guarantee that, you know, CPP, OAS, Old Age Security, and Canada Pension Plan may not very well be around.
Exactly.
You know, we have an aging population that's, you know, well over 65 years of age. What happens over 65 years of age, Dennis? Your knees start going back.
Exactly.
Your back, your heart, your eyes.
Exactly.
All this healthcare is going to be draining the system, and who's going to be paying for it? It's the new generation that's going to be paid in taxes. So, are we really guaranteed a CPP or an OAS? You know, it's supposed to be, but you know, all it takes is one vote and one election, and then everything's switched all around, right?
Exactly.
So, like you said, you got to look out for yourself, and this is a great way to do so.
Yeah, for sure.
So either way, I know we took a little bit too much extra time on that topic,
Sorry about that.
but we'll overflow. So what I really wanted to talk about next was locations, and this is really why I wanted you on the show today. So location-wise, you always know the best locations, where to find a property. You know, you're scouring the MLS daily. So tell me then, it's like what's the real hotspots? What's the difference? Should we be investing in condos? Should we be investing in bungalows? Fully detached $800,000 houses. Well, what's your take on it?
Well, here's where I'm going to start. No matter if it's a condo or a freehold property, anything of the sort, you're going to look for transportation. For as an investor, you want to look for transportation, because a lot of people that are renting, they're going to need to use the Go train, Go bus, TTC, anything along those lines. So you're going to look for transportation. Second thing is amenities. people don't want to go far to get their groceries, go to the doctor and stuff like that. So you want to be close to amenities.
So location is important. So those are two major points. Two major points on there. Now, as you mentioned that, now the average person is average family that's renting a property right now. Statistics show that they have 1.5 cars. Which is not a thing. So you either have one or two.
Yeah.
But really what it shows you is that a lot of people just have one family vehicle at that point. So public transit and how far away the nearest bus stop is, and also how frequent that bus is running is a huge thing.
Absolutely.
And obviously, if you're walking to the grocery store, you don't want to be freezing in the cold in January. I mean, in January and February, right?
Yeah.
Or you don't want to be blazing and sweating outside in the middle of summer.
Yeah.
So these are things that I really appreciate you brought up that point.
Yeah. Also schools.
Yes.
Schools are the main thing too.
Yeah, schools and proximity to the school, and also the ratings for the schools as well.
Absolutely.
So a lot of people want to move into specific areas to get next to specific schools.
Yeah.
You have like Rick Hansen School, or in Mississauga, or like David Suzuki School in Brampton. So a lot of people prefer to be among the top ranking schools, so their kids can
Exactly.
can be in there.
It's actually very easy to find out the ranking of the school. There's a website. It's Ontario School Ranking, and it'll tell you the different rankings for each high school, elementary school, any school you're looking for. So if that would be a factor in purchasing your place, then go for it.
Well, definitely, because I guess what we're really trying to impart the knowledge to our viewers is that you kind of have to think backwards.
Yeah.
Pretend that you are in that situation and you're looking for a property to rent. What are the things that you're going to look for?
Exactly.
And then 9 times out of 10, Dennis, that's the things that someone else is going to be looking for.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like when I talk to my clients, I always think, what would I want to hear myself, or what would I need in order to do this? Like when I get my investment property, I'm thinking, okay, what is going to appeal to somebody that's renting? If I was renting, what would I need? If I work downtown, I'm going to want the GO train, you know what I mean? Which I've had a lot of clients, as we've had together. But, amenities and things like that, they're big things,
Definitely.
A lot of people don't realize that, so.
Well, yeah, that's some great points. So, you know what? Also, while we're rounding up a little bit close to the end of this segment, I'm going to stick a pin in it, and we are definitely going to talk about location a little bit more when we come back from the break. And then we're also going to jump into things like screening your tenant and preparing your rental property. So we'll see you guys back in just a few.
No one wants to live outside the box. We play it safe. But if you had told me all those years ago that I'd go on to win Juno Awards and Much Music Awards, I would have laughed.
All right, stay with me. Here we go. Hands up! Reach for the sky. Come on. And hold your head up high. What's tonight? And every night. You're what?
To be distinct, you must be different. So I'm going to tell you this. Love Inc.'s You're a Superstar went on to explode onto the Canadian dance scene. It not only was a hit in Canada, it was a hit internationally. Top 5 in the UK, across Europe and into Australia. Our music was everywhere. Radio, TV, video, fashion, television. I was on tour across Canada, branching into the US and Europe. Our music was everywhere. Our video was everywhere.
Let's talk real estate. On this particular episode, we're just kind of diving deep into the different topics on owning a rental property, screening your tenants, what are the benefits. So, and usually we have obviously myself, Amit Kanhai, and Jay Bridgepal. Jay Bridgepal's on a little hiatus right now, so we got Dennis Allison, also from the Brij team, my resident expert on investment properties. So basically what we're talking right now is we're just actually kind of running back on, or bringing forward on locations.
Locations, yes.
Yeah. So basically, we kind of ended off, on that spot is thinking, put yourself in the person's shoes and what
Yes.
kind of property they're gonna be looking for,
Mhm.
and that's ideally what you're gonna be looking for.
Mhm.
So we're talking about schools and whatnot. So now, Dennis, let's just talk specifically, about locations for condos versus locations for houses.
Mhm.
What are the main differences? Like, do you think that this is even a market where we should be going at condos for investments, or we should be going at houses? Because some people are saying the market's a little bit too high and the entry point is a little bit too high to buy that first investment property. If it's 550,000 now, maybe you might want to talk about a square one location for a condo instead.
Exactly. Here's the thing: investment property in period, no matter if it's a freehold property or a condo property, get it. It's worth it. It will appreciate. You're not going to lose on it. When it comes to freehold opposed to condo properties, again, I know we talked about this the other segment that we were on. The other show, sorry. And what's the difference between freehold and condo? Again, is condos have a maintenance fee. That's it. You can get a freehold townhouse or a condo townhouse,
Right.
which just means the freehold has no maintenance fee, condo has maintenance fee.
Of course, yeah.
So that being said, what's the best investment? What would I recommend? Go for a freehold, of course.
Right.
You don't want to be paying maintenance fees at the end of the day because they could always go up.
Right. That's something that you as the consumer can't actually control.
Exactly.
It really depends on the condo corporation, the management style, how many other users or other occupants are cranking up their heat and then open the window or something for no reason when they feel a little bit too warm instead of lowering the heat. So these are things that will greatly affect the maintenance. So to circle back, so location is important. Condo versus freehold. Obviously, we want to go to freehold, but the real message to get across at this point in time is, if you're going to look for an investment property, just get it.
Get it. Anything.
Yeah.
And the location right now, to be honest with you, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, I'll get more rent in Toronto and stuff like that." But to be honest with you, the rent in Brampton is just as good, and you're getting great properties in Brampton as to more bang for your buck. You're looking in Toronto, then these rundown places are going for through the roof. You can go to Brampton and get something.
And here's the thing, it's about pride of ownership and what you actually want to own.
Absolutely.
So when you think about it, Dennis, like, do you want that rundown property in Toronto that's getting $3,000 a month, but maybe has like multiple tenants in there that aren't really even related? It's just like someone subletting from the other person. They're not going to treat the property, in the best of situations. They're not going to treat it that well, right? So then when you take a look, you step back and you say, okay, well, why don't I just get a little bit of a cheaper property in Brampton or Mississauga, and you're going to get a little bit less rent, but you're going to get someone to take care of that property that's like it's their own.
Exactly.
And I'll share a little bit of a story right now. I posted a property, two different properties I'll share. Start first off with the condo property, downtown Mississauga. That's in Enfield type of area, so here in Ontario and Burnhamthorpe.
Yeah.
It's a 2-bedroom condo with a nice little den, fairly large, about 950 square feet, so pretty big place.
Yeah, that's a big place. Yeah.
So compared to the normal condos, so realistically, what we're doing with this particular condo is we put it up for lease. Now, owner said, okay, I want to lease this property out. We've gone ahead and done it. I posted it up in the last 8 days. We have actually had 55 showings on that property.
Wow.
And the rent, Dennis, it was $1,900 when we originally started. Now it's up to $2,000 a month.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's people, good quality people. We have medical students. We have, a guy that was from Citibank, transfer people. So you're getting good quality people taking over these properties with good income.
Yeah.
So that's that's the story about the condo. Now, if we just go a little bit further out into, this is a Brampton story. So this is Queen and McLaughlin area, and that's Flowertown, as you may know, that's what they call it. So that property sold. We just sold the property about $600,000.
Okay.
Just under, actually. And we've actually been getting applications to rent that one as well. So that one I posted, you would never believe, this week I posted it on Sunday evening, actually. So I posted it on Sunday evening. As of right now, we have over 33 requests to rent that property.
Really? 33?
Yeah.
Wow.
And the original rent price we set was $1,850. Currently, it's at $2,000 because people are just saying, hey, we're willing to pay a little bit more. and I have a feeling it might go to $21 or maybe $2,050. So
Wow.
the demand is there.
Oh, yeah.
And you're able to pick and choose and get the best quality person
Yeah.
when you have a good product.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially now, sorry, with the mortgage rule changing, a lot of people unfortunately are unable to afford to buy homes. So you're getting, that's pushing the good quality clients to come rent your
To rent
property,
for a
right?
year instead.
Yeah,
or
because
rent
they're
for a
just trying to
couple
build
years.
up.
Exactly,
Yeah,
the
you know?
rent for a few years and save up. And there's nothing wrong with that particular junction in your life. It's just, okay, mortgage rules have changed. I need to rent for a bit, and I need to save up more money to make a down payment in the future. That is the perfect tenant.
Yeah.
Because you get someone that's a good quality person, good jobs, and they're kind of, moving forward and trying to just save, and then they're going to eventually go into home ownership too. So it's, it's one of those situations where you're definitely, there's no shortage of good tenants when you're talking about locations and different things like that. And realistically, we're kind of broaching on the next topic anyways, which is screening
tenants, yeah.
screening your tenants. So Dennis, tell me, right off the bat, how do you screen your tenants?
Screening tenants. Well, this was a crucial thing. Yeah, it took a lot of practice.
Yeah.
I think we've worked out the kinks.
Yeah.
But there's still some kinks.
Well, the thing is, Dennis, you don't want to be stuck and in bed with someone for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year,
Exactly.
if they're not a great person to talk to. They're rude or this or that
Yeah.
or whatever the fact is. So really, what you want to do, first off, you gotta meet people in person.
Exactly.
Don't just take applications over the phone.
Exactly.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way.
Well, once you screen the application and you see what their jobs like, credit for me is not a big thing. It just matters how much like if you have a crazy amount of outstanding debt, then you're obviously not going to want to pay me. So that being said, you just you got to go through the wheels of it. Like at the end of the day, I will call everybody. Make sure I call your employer. I'll call your mother if I have to. You know what I mean? But
No, man. You know what? That's funny you mentioned that, because mom's always gonna say, "Oh yeah, Dennis, he's a great
I know,
boy."
right? I'm just joking, but at the end of the day, I'll call everybody.
Yeah. So the important thing is it's almost down to a science at this point, because we've done it so many times, over and over and over again for our clients with investment properties. We basically say, "All right, you have 30 people that have come in to see this property." And that's over a 1 hour or 2 hour period, because we schedule all the appointments right at the same time. Yeah, get everyone in there. So you have 30 people that's in there looking at this property. Out of those 30, you're going to have probably 15 applications. Out of those 15 applications, Dennis, I'm going to tell you 5 of them are just going to be horrible.
True.
Incorrect information, not filled out correctly. If you don't take the time to fill out your application correctly, and this is a standard application, by the way, what we're talking about is the application on the real estate board that's available for free for everyone. So Dennis, if you don't take the time to fill out that application in full, do you really think what does that tell me about your personality?
Exactly. Exactly.
You have no attention to really detail. And at this point, those people on the other end that weren't filling it out properly, maybe they're great people.
Yeah.
But instead, we're down to 10 completely filled out applications, filled to a T. So realistically, then you start reviewing those 10 and you take a look at jobs,
Yes.
incomes. You take a look at what the references are, and different things like that. You also take a look at the credit report. So like you were telling me before, credit is not really a major thing. So I want to touch on that. Credit isn't a major thing exactly, and that many people don't understand. If you had a good job and good, amazing credit,
You wouldn't need to be
you
renting.
wouldn't need to be renting. You may have
Exactly.
just purchased,
Exactly.
and you may have just saved up your down payment at that point. So really, that's what gives us a little bit of a cutting edge or an advantage, because we realize that you can attract some excellent quality people.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really matter about that. Maybe they just had a blemish on a Rogers phone bill.
Yeah.
3 years ago, or
That hits you hard, yeah.
yeah, or a telephone phone bill. Yeah, that really it's just ruined your credit, and it's taking some time to get back out of that situation. So that's really one of the main things where you don't really have to worry too much about
Yeah.
the credit in the
A
screening
lot
process.
of people look and say, "Oh, you don't have good credit. I'm not renting to you. I'm not renting to you." But why? What? It's just the stigma in society now. It's, oh, you have bad credit. Let's stay away from you. You're
Definitely.
not good. You know.
No, definitely. So realistically, we're out of time on this particular segment. So I'm also going to just take a pause for a moment, and then we're going to jump right back into it, and we're going to continue talking about screening tenants, and we're also going to talk a little about preparing the rental property and preparing the home.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Welcome back, everyone, to Let's Talk Real Estate. Here with myself, Amit Kanhai, and Dennis Allison, also from the Brij team. So basically, we're just wrapping up on screening tenants for your rental properties. We talked a little bit before about building wealth, so different things like that. And we're gonna kind of circle back on a market update in a few minutes, and talking about preparing your property.
Yes.
So let me just end off quickly on. We had a little overflow from last segment. So screening tenants, obviously at this point I was down to about 10 applications.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're down to 10 applications. What you really want to do, Dennis, I shouldn't say nobody, not often do people call the job, call the employer, and Google the employer, and verify that person even works there. Because a lot of the times, Dennis, you fill out that application or you get a job letter and, you just jump into Microsoft Word, copy and paste whatever logo you want into the job letter and say, yep, hey, this person, Dennis Allison, has worked here for 3 years and he makes $1 million a year.
Yeah.
And then the phone number on the bottom, it's my cousin.
Yeah, exactly.
So, that he's calling in saying, oh, yeah, Dennis is a great guy.
Course, yeah.
He's an excellent person. Oh, the best guy in the world. So, Dennis, what we really do, the trick to this is you Google the company, whatever the company name, XYZ Incorporated, you Google them and you find their phone number. I'm telling you, Dennis, you're going to see a lot of times out of those 10 applications, you're going to see some of those phone numbers don't match.
Yeah.
You call over and you ask to speak to the HR department.
Yeah.
Say, do you know Dennis Allison? Does he work with you? Nope, never heard of him before. So right off the bat, Dennis, you're gonna shrink down probably about 3 or 4 applications off that list by people that are giving false information and things like that. And sometimes those people had very reasonable jobs. Maybe they just didn't want to give it as a reference. But right off the bat, you being a thorough landlord is gonna help you in these situations.
Of course.
Yeah. So okay, so now we're down to about 6 or 7 people. Then you're continuing down the list. We've already discussed that credit's not an issue. So now what you want to do, Dennis? You got those 6 or 7 people. I always say it doesn't hurt to meet people.
Of course.
So when you schedule that follow-up appointment at the property, you're there with them in person and you can see everyone's personalities.
Yeah.
And
sorry to cut you off there. There's one thing actually I like to do before even meeting them. I check social media.
That's a good one these
days. I check Facebook, Instagram, all that type of stuff. Because you could come off as a great person. Like, you see me now, I'm a great person. But next thing you know, I'm out partying and all that type of stuff.
And
Oh,
nothing's
I'm
wrong.
having a house
And
party
nothing's
here.
wrong with partying, but still.
Yeah, you know, but I don't want somebody having a party in my house. You know what I mean?
And to tell you the truth, Dennis, you know, like these things, all things in moderation, right? Like, you know, obviously people are going to have, you know, great events and all these things and family gatherings. That's a normal part of living.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, we don't want, you know, music blasting until 3 in the morning and cigarette butts on the lawn.
Yeah, but it's not
and,
just that,
you know.
too. Like, you know, a lot of the times, you don't... Having pets in the house makes more of a worry, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody says, oh, I have no pets, which comes up a lot, and then you go on Facebook and you have the guy hugging his dog on the picture, you're going to say, okay, so I thought you said you didn't have pets. You know what I mean?
And realistically, Dennis, it's not even a problem at this point. But you know, what you're going to do is catch someone that's being, you know, untruthful.
Untruthful,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, you know, this little bit of extra due diligence, that's going to make sure and screen them a little bit more.
Yeah.
So as as we've been talking to our viewers, our pile has shrunk from 30 down to like 3 or 4.
Yeah, exactly.
And now, Dennis, you know, we meet them. You
Yeah.
meet them in person, face to face, see if you can jive, got the right personality. I'm telling you, Dennis, if you go through, and you know, if you go through these lists of screening people, you're going to get an excellent quality person that
yeah.
you're going to want to be friends with.
For
You're going
sure.
to get someone that you will have a relationship with for years and years to come until that person is eventually ready to leave and then purchase their own property.
Yes.
And I'm sure you're going to keep in contact with them
Yes.
because you end up building a relationship with a good person that you provided a property for them during a specific time where they needed something, and it was a business transaction, but you've had an amicable breakup. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you've both kind of gone your separate ways, and then really that's the kind of the goal here. It's not to think of this as this huge business. You know, put a personal touch on it. And then you're gonna, you know, both parties are gonna benefit.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of times you find some really good newly married.
Yeah, they just need some. They just want some. They just want some space. They, for all you know, they've even gotten the money already ready for their down payment.
Yeah.
But they just want to test it out and see what it's like. You know, living together, or they just got engaged, or whatever the case is. So you know, these are situations where 1 year, 2 years, you know, and then they're off.
Yeah.
So these are great things. So
yeah. I have some tenants. Sorry to cut you off there. I have some tenants that are newlywed and they're just trying to fix their credit so they can buy their own place. But awesome people. Awesome people.
So
Sorry to
you
cut
see,
off.
no, that's awesome there. So realistically, now we're going to talk just a little bit about preparing the property. So we've gotten through the screening process. We've gotten through the advantages of owning and even the locations. So now, preparing your property. Dennis, what do we do?
Unclutter your home.
Declutter. Yeah.
Declutter, sorry. That's the biggest thing. A lot of the times, you know, you see these people, they have these big display cases with these crystal figurines and crystal glass and stuff like that. It just looks small.
Yeah, it makes everything look very, very tiny when you got this large furniture.
Yeah, you know, in your living room, take out all the knickknacks and all that type of stuff. Leave just a regular couch, a nice rug on your hardwood if you have hardwood, your TV with a TV stand. Keep it simple.
And you know what? Even ideally, Dennis, like that's if you're renting out, you know, with a property with items and with furniture. Ideally, Dennis, just clean the place and make it empty.
That's true. That's true. Even no furniture at all.
Yeah, an empty property is gonna allow people to come in, visualize the space.
Yes.
Sure, it helps
That's
when you show them where to put the couch and this and that. It does help. But, you know, an empty property is just as good anyway.
That's true. Because people visualize, okay, I'm going to put my couch over here. They go to the bedroom. I'll put my nightstands here. You know, bed over here. Like, once they can visualize it, they feel like they've lived in it already.
Definitely. So a couple other points that I really want to mention. I always recommend throw a nice fresh coat of paint on the property. You don't want to hand it over in a condition that's not that you wouldn't want it in.
Yes.
So you give a nice fresh coat of paint, Dennis, and it gives a nice feel.
Yeah.
Change all the light bulbs, get some nice soft yellow light bulbs, and you put them all throughout the home. What I noticed specifically, the white bulbs, they create a lot of shadows, and it makes it a little bit more of a harsh environment. So depending on the tone and the colors, which is usually I would recommend light grays and those kind of tones.
Yeah.
You know, you put some nice soft lighting in the property as well. It really creates a nice homely feel. So at that point, you know, you're someone stepping into this property and saying, "Wow, I can see myself living here. I can feel myself living here."
Yeah.
So preparing the property, making sure all of the yard work is done. You don't want to have an unruly yard. You want all the leaves raked up. You want to hand that property over in pristine condition.
Yeah.
And I really tell you why, Dennis, because you hand it over in that condition, someone's going to realize that's the standard that this home should be kept to.
Yeah.
It used to look this so beautiful last year. How does it look now?
Yeah.
You know, they're going to think about it and say, better I put that extra effort and do things like that.
Yeah. Again, it's like put yourself in that person's shoes.
Yeah.
Why would you want to give somebody something you wouldn't take yourself?
Exactly.
You know, for me with my properties, I do the little things I can do myself easily. Like if the caulking's coming out of the windows, I put fresh caulking. I pull that out, fresh caulking. Simple. It takes less than 5 minutes to do.
Yeah.
You know, simple things like that.
Really small things, especially around the bathtubs. You know, you just scrape it all out and then just redo it.
That's
Yeah,
it.
it makes complete difference because you know any amount of use is gonna start turning it orange or yellow or things like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you know, small things too, Dennis, like you know, providing lawnmower, different issues like that. The more you have a great relationship, you know, in preparing the property, the better someone's going to take care of it.
Yeah.
So either way, Dennis, we're kind of rounding off on the topics now, and we really want to jump into a little bit of a market update.
Okay.
So it's not too much different from, you know, last week, but we're noticing incremental changes. What's going on with the market, Dennis?
I think it's starting to go. The prices are starting to go up a little bit, and I'm seeing now there's more quality buyers, people that can afford it, opposed to that. I shouldn't say it like that. I mean, like, not stretching. You know what I mean?
And you know, Dennis, that's really a direct, you know, coming back from the mortgage changes. It's coming directly from the mortgage. It's a direct result. So what you're doing is getting better quality buyers on the market. And you know, one thing that's happening is the inventory is also sitting a little bit longer. So what you're noticing is, depending on the price range, some properties are heading on the way up, and some are just kind of, you know, very much stagnant, maybe 1.5%, 1%, 2%. So we're back to a really very much balanced market where you have the opportunity to do negotiations on your property. You have the time to put in an inspection. You don't have to worry about putting in an offer and removing your inspection clause and getting a dud or getting a lemon. What do they call it, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's very much a balanced market, and that's really the best part about this particular market. Yeah, pricing is a little bit high. You know, mortgage qualifying is a little bit rough. But you're getting good quality properties, and you have the opportunity to take your financing, take 3-4 days, get your financing in order, take 3-4 days, get your inspection done.
Yes, exactly.
So, you know, you make sure that you're really making this purchase for the right reasons and you have the right property.
Yeah.
So, really, long story short, I'd say it's a great time to purchase.
Yeah, especially with having the time to do the inspection. It's, you have the peace of mind. You know, I hate buying a place. I would hate having to come in with a firm offer, meaning I'm just coming in, here's my offer.
You've only seen the property once and you put it, because the second and third and fourth time that you visit the property, you're going to see different things.
Yeah.
So like you said, great time to purchase. Nah, I definitely agree. Also, I'll just recap by saying that, hey, you know, we'd definitely like to see you guys at our investment workshop forum, as you call it now. So that's 96 Rexdale Boulevard, and that's at 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock tomorrow on Saturday.
On Saturday,
yeah. So Saturday, March the 3rd.
96 Rexdale Boulevard.
Yeah. All right. So with that, I want to wrap up and thank you guys for watching this episode of Let's Talk Real Estate, and that's us signing off until next week. See you soon.
Take care.